Hello and welcome to my kitchen again, where I'm joined by the beautiful Alison. As you know, my name is Jenifer, and welcome to the Psychic Phoenix. And please do like and subscribe and share this video, because it really helps to get these videos out into the world. But I'm so super excited to welcome Alison to my home. She's met Drago and
He's lovely.
Oh, thank you. Didn't make her run off. And he's now gone, oh my God, I left him in the dining room. I'm going to have to rescue him. So I'm going to hand it over to Alison in a sec, but we've known each other for many, many years, and we both started our training with Nicola.
We did.
And we were the naughty ones in the back of the room.
We did.
Yeah.
Giggling.
Yeah. Yes. And I always felt this strong connection with you, because I felt like I've known you from a different lifetime. And you look like, and you look like, I always said to you, you look like my nana's side of the family, my mum's side of the family. You've got that resemblance. So we did our studying together in Oakham at the Quaker Church. But then you went off to the colleges, didn't you, Arthur Finley?
Yeah, I've done a bit of training there, yes.
But you really, whereas I went into Ragdale and became a therapist, you continue your path as a medium.
I did, yeah. It just kind of unfolded, I think the term is. So it wasn't something I ever set out to do. I don't think any medium does. You don't just wake up and think, I'm going to be a medium. You don't think like that at all. So I'm always surprised that what I've ended up doing with my life, but at the same time it feels so right, and I really couldn't imagine doing anything else now.
Brilliant. So, well, I discreetly just go off into the other room to rescue Drago, because he's in my treatment room and he's got a habit of jumping on the couch.
Okay.
Can you just share a little bit about your journey so far? How did you stumble into becoming a medium?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's absolutely
fine. Can I leave
fine.
it with you?
You can.
Lovely.
So it's a bit of a funny story, really. I didn't have a clue what mediumship was. I didn't know. I'd heard of the term medium, but I didn't really know anything about it. And I've got a long-standing friend, and she wanted me to go along with her to a spiritualist church in Kettering. So I went along and didn't really have a clue what I was going to see, or what a spiritualist church entailed at all. So I was really quite nervous. Anyway, so we went there and we sat down, and part of the service, the medium, before they do the messages from spirit part, they will do what's known as an address or philosophy of spirit. And so the medium who was there that day, she actually went into trance when she gave her address. So her voice changed and her whole mannerisms changed, and it was really, really captivating. And I really felt the words from spirit on a real deep resonance, and it was almost as if they answered every question that I'd had about the meaning of life, why things happen, why bad things happen, how to turn negatives into a positive, and not in a woo-woo, really light-hearted way, but in a really deep and meaningful way. And it just really resonated with me. And I didn't receive a message, but that was fine. It would have probably scared me for that. And then a couple of days later, I don't know if I've ever told you that, I got a flyer through my door, and I lived in Cottesmore at the time, and this flyer was for a spiritual group in Oakham. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I was quite intrigued by what I'd seen and experienced in Kettering. So I went along, and my other friend came along with me, and so we went there. My friend had known about it before, but she'd never mentioned it to me. But as I say, I got this flyer through the door. So I went along. And obviously, new face there, and everyone was really welcoming. And how did you hear about us? Well, I got a flyer through the door, and they're like, flyer? We didn't send any flyers out. Have you sent any? No one had sent any flyers out. And at the time, the spiritual group, Phoenix, as it was called, was kind of run by quite people of you know, quite a mature age, and so they wouldn't have been into you know, internet and anything. I can't speak anything like that. And so it was quite a mystery as to how this flower going along there. And as you've already mentioned, Nikki or Nicola, she started running a circle, an open circle. So just because do on a, I think it was a Tuesday evening, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because Phoenix was on Thursday.
that's right.
And then on a Tuesday evening,
once
Nikki,
a month.
once a month, Nikki was doing this.
Was it twice
It
a
was,
month?
I think it was once a month.
Once a month.
Because there was a meditation group or anyway.
Yeah.
So I started going on to this open circle, and it was really funny because I say everything's funny, not because I diss things, but just because it's how
I use the
speak,
word weird.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that we think that weird.
No.
It's just a term that we use, I think, isn't it?
Correct.
And so on the first time at this open circle, we were doing flower readings, and I was kind of invited to work with a gentleman called Tony, and I didn't know what flower readings were. This is completely new to me. So we've essentially everyone had brought a flower, and then you picked a flower, and then you worked with the person who brought that flower. I think that's how it was. And so I'm just kind of reading this flower, and Tony says, "How long have you been doing this?" I'm like, "Doing what?" And he's like, "Well, reading." I'm like, "Well, never." He's like, "Oh, well, you've got everything right, spot on." I'm like, really? Okay. And it wasn't that I was making things up, but it kind of felt that I was making things up because I had no idea where it was coming from. Well, obviously it was coming from spirit. So that was my introduction to it. And you know, you never stop learning about it. There's always new things to discover, and spirit keep changing things as well. So you think you've got the hang of something, and then they'll come and upskittle things and change things up. And so they keep you on your toes as well, which is another thing I really like.
Yeah, and what I like with my path, I started off going to Ragdale, and then I joined Ragdale in 2002, and then in 2000 I was getting a little bit bored, basically, and so a guest said to me, like, "Why don't you incorporate an angel card with the Reiki?" I thought, marvelous idea. So what I found was when I started working with the cards, even though I had the training with Nikki, it was like then I was linking into, obviously, listening to you. I learned so much from you. So obviously I was, I don't know who I was linking into, but I was obviously linking into spirit. And they became my greatest teachers. It's like they said to me, right, when you do a reading, close your eyes, and say what you feel. And they would say, no, try harder. No, that's wrong. No. Do you know what I mean? So spirit does hold us in a very beautiful way, but they are quite firm teachers, aren't they?
Yes.
It's not like what I imagined. I imagined if you were going to work with angel cards or tarot cards, or like you work as a medium, that somebody would appear in the room, sit next to me and tell me everything to say to the person, but it's not like that at all, is it?
No.
You really got to and you can't just say willy-nilly stuff. And one of the things, because Alison's got this most amazing Instagram, and I'm going to put the details in the link below. It is amazing.
Very kind of you.
It's very true. And she shares a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and you know, it's in the Instagram post, it's just so riveting for me because it's like, moments listening to them, and I've gone off track.
No, it's not just me.
No, do you know what? I've realised, like, we've having Nicola around here and sitting in the kitchen and chatting about mediumship, and you're the same. I was just sat here listening to you talk, and I just thought your energy, same as Nicola's energy, it's just so warm and it's just so comforting that I totally relaxed and haven't a clue what I was going to say. I do apologise. Right. So what else would I want to ask you about? So this is your main vocation, your main line of work.
Yes.
Do you do how do you work?
How do I work? Well, I work how spirit want me to work, which sounds like a really stupid,
No.
stupid statement, but spirit will work differently with every medium. So I'm at the moment, and as I say, they do change things on occasions. They work very clairsentiently with me, so I will actually feel how the spirit person felt when they were here. So I will feel like I'm a different height or different build, like the clothes I'm wearing are different, like my hair's different. So for that moment, I will kind of become that spirit person. But it's not that the spirit of that person has kind of come into my body and I'm possessed or anything like that. Completely different to that. It's just I get a really close feeling of that person's essence from when they were here. And that kind of is how they work with me. So
Yeah,
so
wonderful.
it's different with every spirit communicator.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. It's like when I do the cards, it's like I close my eyes and I see this image. The way they work with you is so you're feeling their energy. The whole of your body's being used to feel, which is beautiful. It's not like being possessed at all. You're just feeling.
It's like
the
as you said earlier, it's not like being held by that person in that moment, in that time, in a big warm enveloping hug.
Yeah. And do you work with angel cards or tarot cards?
I do work with cards, so I've got a variety of different decks, and probably I work a little bit different because my work is always led by spirit. So even if I'm doing an oracle card reading, or I'm doing, as I'm sure with yourself, everything that comes forward doesn't come from you, it comes from spirit. So when I'm doing cards, I say that the information that I'm receiving comes from kind of wider spirit rather than a specific spirit person. So the words that will come forward when I'm reading a card a different way, and there will be a shift when the spirit person steps forward, and it's like I'll stop working with the card. I'm now working with the spirit, so then I'll be very much clairsentient, whereas before, or when I'm working with cards, it's much more almost on I think it's claircognizance. It's like what you are given, what needs to be said for that person that you're working with at that moment. And so I will look at a card, and obviously the very there's an image on the card and maybe some words as well. So I look at that and I read the words. But obviously, for me anyway, that can be quite general, because they're meant to appeal for everybody, lots of people. So by how spirit work with me with the cards is they make it very individualistic. So although I'm looking at an image, I may share words that essentially do not seem to connect with that, but it's almost as though they're a bit of a portal to get to. So it's a tool essentially.
And that something you said like struck me, like when I do the card readings, I always say it's messages from the universe. So you used the term the greater spirit, or
wider spirit,
and then in my interpretation, that's to me is the universe. So
one and the same.
It's your term, my term, it's the same. So so that's brilliant. So obviously when I'm working with the cards, I am linking into the greater spirit, which is the cosmos, universe, or whatever I like greater spirit. And then if someone comes through on a mediumship level from spirit world, it's almost like I sense for better words, sense they've walked into the room and I see this image in my mind's eye of that person, but I can't. I don't know. Maybe I doubt myself and block myself, but it's almost like I can say, and then I lose that connection. But I don't know whether that's me doubting myself.
I've known you a long time, Jenny, and I would say, unfortunately, that's you doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And it's something that we all do. That's almost like completely normal. And I doubt for years. I doubted myself, and because it's almost like, who are we to give this information? And it's not that we don't trust, well, speaking kind of how I've come to understand it. It's not that we don't trust the information that we're being given, it's that we don't trust ourselves to deliver it correctly.
Yes.
In the manner that they want it delivering.
Yes.
And it's a lot of pressure to get it right.
Yeah.
Because, you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's, they use a lot of time and energy to come forward and make that connection. And so the pressure to not do a disservice to them, for me, is huge.
Yeah.
And until you get, I won't say get over it, but you learn to work with that and turn it around into a way that, all right, we may have those personal self-doubts, but spirit don't doubt us.
Oh.
So it's like, trust in spirit as they trust in you, and look at it that way is many years of trying to get over exactly what you just described. But it's just like flipping the way that you look at it somehow. Spirit come forward because they trust you, right?
Yeah.
You trust in spirit.
Yeah.
So that, for me, allows it to flow a lot more freely.
Thank you. Which is just reminded me, because Alison is based in Rutland in Oakham. So can people come to your house for reading?
They can, yes.
So yeah, and you've got a webpage, haven't you?
I've got a website, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll share that as well. So you can go to Alison's place, and she also does them via WhatsApp or Zoom or video calls.
Yeah, I can do Zoom or WhatsApp video. No, not WhatsApp at the moment, because it's fallen off my phone. So I can do Zoom and I can do in person at the moment.
Brilliant. So. And also, like when I was listening, you are a teacher, aren't you? You got that teacher energy, because
I keep being told that, but my doubts, I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'm just me.
The way, like, when I was saying about my self-doubts, your energy shifted straight into this teacher mode.
Sorry.
No, it's good, because you relaxed and you were in your voice and in your truth. So I really do feel you need to do more teaching, because you were teaching up until the lockdown, weren't you?
Yeah.
You had a group.
Yes. I do have a small group. I run them as courses rather than a group, because that, for whatever reason, it works better for me. I don't necessarily like the term course, but I call it KISS, like keep it simple spirit. So each 6-week block will build on the previous ones, but people can join at any time for that 6 weeks.
Yeah,
because life's like an onion level.
Yeah.
So and we're always learning with spirit. So that's what I do, and I do workshops as well and things. So
it still stuck with me what you said, like spirit trusts me and I should believe because they believe in me. That's really empowering. Thank you. Also, when the Psychic Phoenix group, which is held, we'll talk about it in a second, but it was held on Thursday. Oh my gosh, it was in the Quaker Church, which is just, you can park at Tesco's for 2 hours, that's all. And trot along. And trot along. And it's in this old Quaker church, and
it's beautiful.
Do you know? And it was Ray and Sylvia.
And Marion and Frank.
Marion Frank, that's right. And like they were like your nanas and grandpas. And they were old school spiritual people, very old school. And we would go,
beautiful, gorgeous people,
amazing. And they were happy days. And you would have a cup of tea and a biscuit. And I didn't introduce the Hoover, have I? There's the Hoover. Can you see the Hoover?
Oh,
so I'm hiding it, and my washing's outside. Yeah, so we were sitting in these little pews. We start off with there would be like a prayer.
A prayer or reading.
And a little reading, and then a medium would come up, and the energy in that place is beautiful. But now you run it.
I do. I do. So it's on the second Thursday of each month, we have an evening of mediumship with a visiting medium. And on the 4th Thursday of every month, we have a divine service, which sounds a bit, I think the word service is a bit ambiguous, really, and a bit too churchy.
Yeah.
But basically, I like to describe it as a celebration of spirit, because as well as getting the messages from spirit through the medium will also share words of wisdom or philosophy from spirit. So everybody who's there gets a bit of a message.
Wow.
And we have uplifting music and songs, and like, contemporary songs, like that, you can enjoy singing along to, or just listening to. What?
All creatures great and small.
All things bright and beautiful.
That's a TV show, isn't it?
It is,
All
yes.
creatures great and small.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yeah. No, we don't have that, but I will add it to the list.
Okay.
But we have things like Robbie Williams' Angels. We have Bridge Over Troubled Water. We have lots of different songs. We don't do them all, obviously. We do two, and there's also at the in the divine service there's a period of about 5 or 6 minutes, which is for everyone to just have a bit of chill out time, some lovely angelic music, and also healing is given out at that time as well.
That's beautiful. That really is. And it's at the Quaker Church in Oakham.
It is, yes.
Oh, you really, really must go. Right, what else did I want to ask you? That's, I'm listening to you. You also can marry people, can't you?
Yes and no. I can't legally marry them because I'm a qualified celebrant. But as it stands by law, celebrants can't legally marry because there's only certain people that can say the legal. Well, there's 5 words that make it legal, right? So, but I can do a marriage ceremony, which is very bespoke and whatever the people want. So for example, I did one a while back, and both sets of parents were sadly deceased, but they wanted them to be involved in some way, so their photographs were put on their like their altar, I suppose you would describe it as. And before the service, I kind of invited them to come forward and share their thoughts and words for the couple. So that was incorporated into this. That was incorporated into their wedding as well. So I do things a little bit different.
Beautiful.
But I can do that, yeah, and funerals as well.
Yeah. What about baby?
I do naming ceremonies. Yes. Yeah.
Because I really don't like christenings.
I joke.
Christenings.
Yeah, christenings.
Yeah.
I've got 3 boys, and none of them were.
Did you notice I said that very quietly?
You did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. None of my boys were christened, but they all had naming ceremonies, and I thought I'd made it up. I didn't realise it was a thing. But funnily enough, they started in Australia in about the 1950s.
Really?
Yes. I did not know that. Hand on heart. So that's really funny. But so yeah, I do naming ceremonies.
Oh, it's just magical. I just think, but that's a whole different subject. And I know people get a lot of comfort from religion, so we're not going to go down that route. But the other thing we share is you may not know, but I lived in Australia from the age of 11 until nearly 18. Alison is in love with Australia, aren't you? Share. When did you go to Australia? Why did you go?
Why did I go? Because I just had to.
Really?
The first time I went, I was 20, but I'd always never felt English. I'd always felt Australian from being about 6.
Wow.
I don't know. I just have like this energetic being that kind of just linked me. Yeah, I have had that just linked me with Australia for whatever reason. I didn't even realise there was a Perth in Scotland until I went to Australia. And of course, the Perth in Australia is named after the Perth in Scotland. I'm like, how did I not know that? But no, it's just like anything Australian, I just know. Really weird. Like, for example, I could be in another room and the television would be on, and I just walk past the door and catch a glimpse of the red earth, but I would know whether that red earth was Australian or whether it was African. Bizarre, just bizarre, just really a weird connection that I have with the place. And you probably found if ever I'm talking about Australia,
You,
I get a bit of an accent, which
yeah,
my children hate with a passion, but I
yeah.
love, and I don't put it on at all.
No. Glyn says to me when considering I've been back in England and I'm now 56 and I left when I was just about to turn 18. He says to me, he goes, when you get angry, you sound Australian. But my friend,
You do have the odd word that comes out.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. My friend Sammy, who I work with at the nursery, she says that she can hear that Australian in me, and I'm like, oh,
It's like the background of your voice.
ah,
It's kind of, it's how can I explain it? It's very subtle, but it's the way you intonate your words
is it?
without the accent necessarily. But then it does come forward
Wow.
when you're passionate about things.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wonder whether it's because I went to school in Australia.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
I did love Australia, I really did. But like you feel very drawn to Australia, I was very drawn to England. And when I turned, well, no, when I finished my schooling, because it wasn't as if I turned, I finished my schooling, and then my aunt Ilsa said to me, you need to go back to England, go back for a holiday, and then you'll know where you want to live, whether it's in England or Australia. So obviously I came to England and it was 1985, and England in 1985 was like, woohoo!
Compared to Australia.
Yeah, and I went to an all-girls school too, so it was like, boys, wow. And the music, it was lovely. I always remember my first summer in England. Everyone was like, whoa, this is a heat wave. And I'm like, you're joking? It's cold. But anyway, I fell in love with Glyn, and the rest is history. But I've always felt drawn to this country. And it's really interesting because we've both got very similar likes, and we were talking when you arrived about flower essences. I love Saskia's flower essences because there's that connection to Stroud, which is in Gloucestershire, and that's where I'm from. And then you've got the connection to the Australian essences.
Australian bush essences.
Is that what they're called?
Bush flower essences.
What's your favourite essence at the moment?
I love the jacaranda one.
What's that mean?
The jacaranda, it's very uplifting. It's
very nice.
It's full of energy. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful effervescent plant. And yeah, so northern Queensland, top end of Australia, it's out there, bright pink.
Wow.
Quite a showy flower, I guess. But it's got an amazing scent as well. So you like walk under jacaranda trees, and it's just beautiful.
Wow, I'm really drawn to rosemary at the moment. Saskia hasn't got a rosemary at the moment. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I ought to have a word with her. But so I bought the rosemary essence, probably because Nicola last time she came, she brought hers, and I was like, oh, it's amazing. But anyway, I have got a confession to make, because I had a rosemary bush, and for some unknown reason I pruned it last year, Alison, and then I put all the prunings in the recycling bin, and I should have used them around the house for psychic protection. I'm so mortified. I go out to my plant and I say, I'm so sorry.
I'm sure she forgives you.
I hope so. But the one I'm using at the moment in Saskia's range is the wisteria, which is all about showing up in the world and allowing yourself to be seen. Because I think that's the other thing with medium psychics, because of the past where we would have been burnt or hung, or just drowned or anything.
Any lovely fate that they could think for us.
That probably explains my fear of heights. You probably made me climb up high and push me off. No,
I can't stand heights. I can't stand water.
Oh, I like water.
No, I would never go on a cruise, for example.
Really? See, water don't bother me, but heights. I can't even get on a step ladder.
On a what?
Step ladder.
No, me neither.
And if someone gets up on a step ladder,
I'm like,
yes. But the only place I was able to walk up high was the Eiffel Tower.
Oh.
Because I knew I couldn't fall out. It was all completely caged in and I couldn't fall out. But on it, and Glyn goes, can you not get over it? And then, but when I go up in the loft, I am fine going up in the loft ladder. But that moment I'm thinking, I'm on a ladder.
Yes.
Clammy hands, I froze.
Yeah.
So so we must have been pushed off a high, something to do with stairs as well. It's stairs, ladders, and the church spiral staircases.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
they're lovely, but they're terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I even dream like that, like
Come on.
yeah, I dream about the stairs, and I had this dream a few weeks ago, and I was back at Ragdale, and my manager was showing me around the hall, and we were going, and it was different to the hall slightly, and we were going up and down staircases, and then we came along a flight of stairs, and they were really quite narrow and deep, and they all walked down them, and in my dream I froze, and I said, I'm so sorry, I can't walk down these stairs, I just can't. My fear was so real, even in my dream, that I had to go a detour round, and then I caught up with them.
Yeah.
What
was funny?
Yeah.
I had a dream about a spiral staircase last night.
No.
I did. And I got stuck halfway up. And I couldn't go up and I couldn't go down.
Did you not sit down on your bottom and go down that way?
I had to be rescued. Someone had to come up and help me down.
Really?
Yeah. And that happened at my cousin's house. I don't mean the spiral staircase thing, but they had perspex stairs, which are the most vilest things ever. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, so obviously I had to go up there, and then if you go up, you've got to come down, and I couldn't do it. I had to get rescued. 2 people had to hold me down.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Like, I went to London with my brother-in-law and father-in-law, we did, which was really quite funny, because we went to checking into the hotel, and there was my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, and then me, and she goes, oh, I'll upgrade you to the king-size bedroom. I went, oh yeah, okay then, thank you. And then Mark whispers in my ear, he goes, she thinks we were together, you know. I went, you what? And then he had to say, oh, that's my sister-in-law, we're not together. And she went, oh, pardon me. So I had this massive king-size bed all to myself, but that's another story. We went in the underground, we did, which is a fascinating place, because I am a little bit of a conspiracy head person. And I think there was a civilization that was around. And I always remember in this Australian book, or the Australian person said, when the city people left. So obviously there was like the people that lived on the land, and then there was this civilizational race that came and built all these buildings. And some people link it to this period as being Atlantis. And it's really interesting, because in London there's the National Museum, and they've got all these crystals.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, is this real? Is this really part of what Atlantis? Because Atlantis was about these beautiful buildings, this power to heal, free energy, and so forth. So when we were in the underground, I couldn't help but think, oh my gosh, why was the underground built? And don't give me the story. I know you're not going to give me the story of Victorians, because if it was the Victorians, then why aren't we still producing magnificent buildings? Why the buildings that we're building have no soul, no meaning, no energy? They're yucky. Yet these magnificent buildings that are still around us, when you walk in and you look up and you look around, you think, whoa. But so yeah, there's these elevators that go up and down. Mark goes to me, they're really high. I said, Mark, do not tell me that. I had to literally hold on to the rail and look there where my feet were, because they were massive. But anyway, that's diversing a little bit. The other thing I'd like to share with everyone listening is that you've wrote a book.
I am, yes.
You have?
I've had a chapter published in a book.
Oh, I thought you wrote a book.
I am currently writing a book.
Ah, and that we had a psychic moment then. Oh, Alison.
Yes.
Right. So you're going to have to, when it's finished, we're going to have to do another interview on your book.
Oh, okay.
What's it about? You?
It's a bit of a hybrid thing. So it's partly autobiographical. But me being me, it's spirit inspired, spirit led. So it's about, the idea behind it is that if people are having kind of experiences with spirit that maybe they don't understand, or they're wanting to do some development, it's kind of sharing things that I've experienced, and my kind of amassed knowledge that I've been gained over the years and throughout lifetimes, is being shared, so that hopefully it will help people in some way or another.
Brilliant. I'll buy a copy.
Thank you.
Something else she said when we said, I really do listen to what people say. You've had many lifetimes as a healer medium, haven't you? Because you said other lifetimes as well. So you without, I don't think you realise you said it. But you've had many lifetimes as
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite as what? I don't know. But I used to have a fascination with the Victorian era.
Oh, there's me. Just Victorian era, sorry.
Well, that's no. I'll tell you. Oh my God, that's why I'll tell you. And then I also used to love the Tudor period, and I know I've had a couple of past life regressions. So one was in the kind of Middle Age Tudor period, and so that was really interesting. And then I had another one where this probably won't surprise Jenny at all. I was on one of the first fleet ships out to Australia, and this is why sorry, I'm getting excited. This is why I figure that I've been so passionate about Australia in this life, because on the boat, my mother died on the boat. She was chucked overboard, as would have been done. And so the rest of the journey I went on my own, and in the regression, I was told that you will die in Australia, because at the time, of course, there was no way back. And so in my subconscious, I have to die in Australia. And so you can't die somewhere if you're not there. So that's where my belief that I have had a life in Australia beforehand. But yeah.
What brought you back to England? I mean, what? No,
visas, Jenny, visas.
No, but why were you born in as a soul? Why? I wonder why you came to England. I know there's a bridge. You're a bridge between Australia, and I do feel energetically, you can still be walking in Australia at the same time as you're walking in this land. You're energetically connected. But I wonder what it is. Maybe you need to be bringing more of the Australian oracle cards.
Yeah, I do have some Dreamtime cards, Dreamtime cards that I love working with. And I do have one of my spirit guides is a lovely Indigenous First Nations Australian lady, called Manpa. And she's lovely. She's lovely. So she supports me with my kind of mediumship, delivering messages, and then I have other guides that do different spirity stuff with me. Like I've got a guide that helps me with trance. I've got a guide that helps me with like philosophy and that kind of thing. So
yeah. Sounds beautiful. And there was another question I was going to ask you. That's it. I remember now. So I also am a past life regression therapist, and I was just reading something that stood out like a mile. And some people are really frightened of past life regression, and I don't understand why, because like time as we know it, a lot of people say it's not what we've been led to believe, that time is fluid. So these lifetimes that we've had are all running at the same time, and it's almost like a shamanic feeling when I read this. It's like understanding our past lives. We're retrieving those aspects of us. So in this lifetime, we become whole. So you having those 2 past life regressions is really, really good, because you're bringing that aspect of that life into this life. It's bringing the whole of you complete. And I think that's really, really good, because we have so much wisdom and knowledge within us from these previous, for the better word, because it then gets all jumbled up if you try and talk more differently. So all this information that you've got, and your drive and your passion and your skill, is from these other lifetimes that you've had, and recognizing them and understanding them brings them into you, so you become whole. It's almost like sometimes we talk about the fragmented soul, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think for me there's a difference between past life regression therapy and just having past lives done because you want to know if you were someone famous. That's like really shallow and really,
Yeah,
you know.
totally agree. Totally
So
agree.
there's got to be a need to help yourself within this lifetime,
Yeah,
as opposed to just because you want to know
yeah,
who you might have been.
yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Alison, because I did one person, and all it showed was like, it showed a lot actually, but this person, their life was very simple. And I asked them, what did you get from that lifetime? And they, do you have any regrets? And they went, no, because that's all I wanted. I just wanted to tend to the land, look after the horses, look after my family. My family meant everything to me, and I had a hard life, but I had a happy life, and it taught me family's everything.
Yeah.
And that is more powerful than, like you said, like, I just want to find out if I was somebody famous.
Yeah.
It's just like, curiosity kills a cat.
It does.
So also when, because and where are the time? Because we could chat for hours, but I'd love to do another one with you if that's okay. Is like when I was speaking to Nicola, she talked about the spirits of the plants. So do you connect to the plants, or what's your feel on that?
I totally believe that that is a thing that people can. Sadly, I do not have that.
That's what I love about you. Like, I go angels, you go.
It's quite funny because I'm the worst plant mummy ever. I really can't keep plants alive, and my son's joking, well, that's because you work with dead things. So it's like really bad, isn't it? But it's probably true.
Which one of your sons said that?
That's Adam.
He's the oldest.
Yeah, no, he's the middle one.
Oh, he's the middle one. He's
Yeah.
very wise, isn't
Yeah,
he?
it's quite
Sorry.
He likes dissing his mum.
Oh,
But there's probably something in there.
yeah.
But no, I love using the bush flower essences. But keeping plants alive, and I'm not a planty person.
You don't go and hug any
Sadly.
trees.
No, I will hug a tree. Yes, and I do like that. I do get that connection.
Yeah.
But as for nurturing them, and I don't have the same kind of connection that you do.
Yeah. So
Nikki has.
yeah, and that's I think that's if you met Nicola and me,
lovely.
Yeah, the three of us, I always think of us like, I always think of Nicola's teacher.
Yes, well, she was my first teacher.
And mine too. We all bring different aspects. It's almost like we're a triangle.
Yes.
Oh, I've got goosebumps then. And we all bring an element that's different to the other person, isn't it? Which is amazing. So to round this this beautiful conversation, I really could talk for you for hours.
Likewise.
Oh, it's just I find it so fascinating. I really, really do. So I'm very drawn now to the nature spirits, very drawn to them. And I bought some cards, but fortunately they're Hay House cards, and I always say do not go down Hay House because the energy is just, and I'm like, okay, just use them as a teacher, because I also got these other cards called the Wild Woman cards.
Oh, I like the sound of those.
Thanks, Far. Oh, I can't run. What's it? Wait a second.
It's yeah.
Right, Alison.
Yep.
So yeah, the herbal astrology cards.
Okay.
Oracle. I look, but I am sorry, but I don't. Hay House is just a company. Started off really, 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 really good, but there's something about that energy. So they're there. But the Wild Woman cards. These are amazing. I love independent companies. I think of what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I think with Hay House, they've got to have a certain standard criteria, and I don't think I'm going to treasure them and look after them and work with them to learn about the plants. Look at them.
May I? They're lovely.
I'll smudge them after. Look, they're
wow.
Aren't they just? So these
They're
are,
very different. They're lovely.
they are phenomenal. Awaken your true, free and soulful self. You can find her on Instagram, but the essence of the Wild Woman Oracle, it's feminine, dark, witchy, wise, mystical, spiritual, whimsical, authentic, educational and empowering. The essence feels like the dark feminine, which is living and compassionate, yet honest, direct and powerful. So basically these cards, I'm working with them at the moment for self-discovery.
Yeah.
That's a better word. And they're just stunning.
They're lovely then. I've never seen any like them.
No, I
love the
haven't.
colouring on them.
I
It's
do.
kind of like, you say
Yeah,
bronze,
bronze.
rather than gold. So
Yeah.
very earthly. But as you say, very by earthy, I mean very connecting with nature
Grounded.
and grounding, and there's a very strong energy about them, very direct as well.
Very
I would
direct.
feel it's like, you know,
Very powerful cards. You can
it
just
would,
feel the power.
it would potentially give you a jolt in the when you need it.
Yeah.
And strong affirmation when you need it also.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight to the point they are.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And I love actually how they've got the name of the card and then the aspect of the card underneath it. And as you say, they're just so direct and to the point. I mean, for example, I'll pick one out. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. It's like it says home alone at last, aloneness, and that I would imagine is kind of showing that it's okay to be alone and to find comfort and peace in that aloneness. And there was another one that really really got me, and I'm just going to see if I can find it again. Voice of the Outcasts. I love that one, which is quite simply advocacy. And I just love the simplicity in what they say they are.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me them. They're lovely.
You're welcome.
And the back's beautiful as well.
I just love the colour that black, because you know, like the dark feminine is our womb, isn't it? It is
very protective.
Yeah. And we tend to be in our heads a lot, whereas we need to go back down into the cave, into our woman, into our womb, into our heart. And there, you know, that aspects of us that we don't always want to show the world, because we've been taught that we have to be polite, we have to be pretty, we have to be well behaved, we can't say naughty words, can't diss things. I'm not saying you should say naughty words, but you get the drift. These cards are
Yes, yeah. And that song came into my mind as soon as you showed me them. Wild women do, and we don't regret it.
Yeah, because
it's like being a rebel.
Yeah.
A rebel.
Yeah, and I think the energy is shifting, Alison. I think the energy is really shifting where the return of the feminine is coming. Because we need to have that balance of the masculine and the feminine. At the moment, it's too masculine. And we don't want to go the other way and become too feminine. We need that harmony. And the men need us. The men need us to be those women we were. Yeah. Or women need women to be who they were. Yes. It don't have to, you know, this whole concept of like tradition. This is going on to another subject, but it is. We've been like having to go down these roads and paths, and if you don't fit in, you're the outcast, like you said, isn't it? Whereas really, like, nature has no boundaries. It's nature just lives in harmony. And that's not in a new agey world. No, because nature is vibrant and fierce, as we know from the bushfires. But anyway, I realise people are listening, and we really need to do part 2 and part 3 of that. I really hope you've enjoyed this conversation in the kitchen. Alison, I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much. It's been lovely. I love chatting with you. I love it. So yes, please share your thoughts, what you think to this conversation, and if you like it, please do like it and share. So I'm going to now put my glasses on so I can see and turn it off. And until next time, lots of love from Melton Mowbray. Do you want to say goodbye? Thank you. Lovely to see you. Bye-bye. Stop recording. Right, ready, steady, and